welcome to ET Now Startup Central, India's first and only daily show dedicated to startups, technology and entrepreneurship. I'm Chandra Shrikant, joining you live from India's startup capital, Bengaluru. Before we take it to the startup, something very important on the technology side, because fake news fireworks rocked Parliament today as various parties cornered the BJP over its efforts to combat fake news. Now, responding to these attacks, IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad assured people in the Parliament that they have taken adequate measures to combat fake news. He in fact said that a lot of senior executives from WhatsApp have met the IT Secretary recently. The government has also taken down certain suspicious URLs and accounts, and it's an issue that they are constantly focusing on. Now, remember, this has come to the fore in the last few weeks after various people were killed across India in lynchings based on WhatsApp forwards. In response to this, the government sent out a very strong message to WhatsApp, asking it to crack down on this menace immediately. WhatsApp on its part has been taking a number of measures. They've been flagging messages as forwards, they've been limiting the number of chats, they've also started flagging certain links as suspicious. But it remains to be seen if WhatsApp's efforts alone would work or what we need on the law and order and enforcement side. But here's what Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad had to say.
The typical attributes of fake news are that it spreads fast, is doctored, is incorrect, is malafide, is intentional, is sensational, glamorous, is unverified and goes viral. The government is cognizant that social media platforms, Chairman Sir, are being abused as a vehicle for weaponization of information against India's strategic interest, economic stability, and is committed to taking suitable action to deter such action. Recently, it has come to the attention of the Government of India that a number of disturbing instances causing loss of innocent lives have taken place in various parts of the country. They are deeply painful, regrettable, as well as a matter of deep concern for the government. The government swiftly issued notice to WhatsApp, since in most incidents, such horrible events were preceded by viral circulation of rumors on this platform. In response, WhatsApp have taken steps to increase the friction in propagation of content on the platform by reducing the number of forwards to 5 and also indicating whether an incoming message is either forwarded or originally composed by the sender. They have also planned to remove the forward button that appears adjacent to the video or audio message. They have also informed that they will be bringing in fact-checking and fake news verification mechanism to help people check the veracity of the content of the platform.
Keeping it with WhatsApp and fake news, now Facebook of course came out with its earnings for the second quarter. The stock took the biggest fall not just in its own history but in American stock market history. It lost market cap by about $151 billion because analysts were disappointed with its growth and forecast. What's more, Facebook founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg lost about $17 billion in 2 hours as a result of the stock taking a huge fall. Now, the earnings were also important from an India perspective because India and WhatsApp came up multiple times during Mark Zuckerberg's call with analysts. He spoke about how Facebook is preparing to counter fake news. He claimed that they are better prepared with elections coming in US, midterm elections in US, and also important elections in Brazil and the 2019 elections in India. He said that they have taken a lot of efforts recently to take down fake handles, to take down suspicious pages, and this is something that they are doing on an ongoing basis. So on that front, he seemed pretty confident. He assured analysts that they are doing all it takes to counter fake news. The other important point that Mark Zuckerberg really touched upon was plans for WhatsApp payments in India. Now remember, WhatsApp has started testing payments in a beta version, but they haven't got approval yet for the final version. And a lot of people are saying that the government has held off on that approval till they are convinced that WhatsApp is doing enough to counter the fake news menace that's really grappling India. So Zuckerberg said that so far the feedback has been positive and based on that they feel that a lot of people will take to WhatsApp payment when it goes off. But we really have to wait and see when the government will greenlight WhatsApp payment. Now we have a third story today, which is also to do with Facebook in some sense. Facebook and WhatsApp making a lot of news this evening on Startup Central. The third story that we have for you today is the government planning to order a CBI probe into Cambridge Analytica over the issue of data leaks. Now remember, when the Cambridge Analytica scandal broke out, Facebook had released country-wise numbers on the number of people impacted. Of course, a majority of the people impacted were in the US, but there were also those who were impacted in the EU and India. And the government now plans to order a CBI probe to look into this. We don't know how effective this is going to be because so far, whatever notices the government has sent to summon Cambridge Analytica or even summon Facebook officials, there has been no feedback from the other end. So I'm not sure what a CBI probe is going to achieve. But for more on all these developments, we have a special guest joining us on the phone line. We have Amber Sinha, who is a senior program manager at the Center for Internet and Society, to really break down all these developments. A lot of news flow this evening on Facebook, WhatsApp, Cambridge Analytica, but I want to get your views first on the CBI probe into Cambridge Analytica. What do you make of it? Will it really serve any purpose?
Hi Chandra, thanks for having me on the show. Am I clearly audible?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes, so in terms of the CBI inquiry with regard to Cambridge Analytica, I think we need to look at a couple of issues very carefully. One is, what kind of jurisdiction does CBI have over this issue? And second, even if they were to have jurisdiction, what laws exist in India, what Indian laws could be used to initiate proceedings against Cambridge Analytica here? Now, with regard to the first question, the way we have to look at this is essentially Facebook is an exporter of service, and that service is being used by people in India. So when there were notes which were sent by MeitY to Facebook seeking details of the number of Indian people who might have been impacted by this, I think that number was in the region of about 80 lakhs. In that sense, what we have to remember is the privity of contract. The contract between users in India and Facebook would specify the American law as the operating law. And in that sense, that raises clear questions of jurisdiction that CBI would have here. Second, even if they were to have jurisdiction, exactly what provisions in Indian law could they proceed under? There is no data protection law in India. What we have are very inadequate rules under Section 43A of the Information Technology Act. And the interface between an Indian user and Cambridge Analytica, you have to look at the number of players which come in between. So it is data that is collected through the Facebook platform by a researcher called Alexander Kogan. And then Alexander Kogan chooses to sell that data forward to Cambridge Analytica. That is what we know from the investigations done by newspapers like Guardian in this matter. Now, because we don't have a data protection law, there are no clear provisions which provide for proceedings that can be initiated in such cases, especially when there are already two levels of dissociation between, let's say, an Indian user and Cambridge Analytica, which is the entity that the CBI seems to be going after. So, in my sort of view, I think the sort of legal basis of proceedings that CBI could have might be questionable in this case.
Right. So, Amber, what you're essentially saying is that till we have clarity on a data protection law, on whether it mandates penalties of this nature or, on what the clear-cut conditions are, it's not clear what a CBI probe is going to achieve.
That's true. I mean, apart from being a symbolic gesture here, where a ministry in India has not received response from an entity of whom they've asked tough questions. Apart from it being a symbolic gesture, I'm not entirely sure what else it the CBI would be able to achieve here. The other thing to look at is also that in most cases, the terms of contract, which let's say a platform like Facebook has with its users, there are very broad permissions given under that platform. So there is one contract between, let's say, Facebook and Alexander Kogan leading to Cambridge Analytica. And what Facebook has claimed is that there was a breach of trust of that agreement. But as far as the agreement between the user and the Facebook, because Facebook obtains such broad permissions and seeks to use our data in ways, in pretty much all ways possible, and can share that data forward, on behalf of Indian users, there are very little sort of legal protections that might be available for CBI to proceed under.
Right. Amber, hold your thoughts there. We, in fact, have managed to pull out that part where Zuckerberg talks about preparation ahead of Indian elections and also WhatsApp payment. Let me just quickly play that out and then come back to you for a quick follow-up question. Let's listen into what Zuckerberg said on, plans to counter fake news in India.
The major trend we're seeing is the shift to more private messaging. There's a lot to build here. We've been testing payments on WhatsApp in India. And it gives people a really simple way to send money to each other and contributes to greater financial inclusion. And of the people who have tested this, feedback and usage have been very strong. All signs point to a lot of people wanting to use this when the government gives us the green light. And in the meantime, we've broadened our focus to building this for other countries so we can give more people this ability faster. There are a number of other things that we're doing too, including I'm creating an external program for independent academics to study how the impact of social media and how foreign governments do try to interfere in elections, and that will have a longer-term impact as well. But the short answer here is we've been very focused on this. 2018 is a big year.
Right. Amber, so he's talking about how 2019 is going to be a big year, 2018 is a big year, and also how he's very enthusiastic about WhatsApp payments. But do you think Facebook is doing enough in this respect to counter fake news? Are they better off than where they were? And do you think WhatsApp payments will sort of be pending till the government is convinced that they are doing something with respect to fake news on WhatsApp? Is that going to be contingent on what they manage to do to reduce the number of rumors and lynchings as a result of WhatsApp?
So in terms of Facebook's commitment and ability towards addressing problems of fake news and misinformation that exist on the platform, the first thing I would like to state is that the entire revenue model of a company like Facebook depends on being able to create deep psychological profile of its users and then allowing advertisers to use those profiles to target users with advertisements and content. So when, let's say, a political entity, or in the popular case when Cambridge Analytica were to use that data to target users on Facebook with politically motivated content, then they were using essentially the ad network that is fundamental to Facebook's revenue and existence. So in that sense, while they can go ahead and create certain mechanisms, certain procedures for fact-checking on the website, and perhaps they could have certain controls in place in terms of reviewing users who are notorious for spreading and originating disinformation. At the end of the day, what they are in the business of is creating psychological profiles which can be used for targeted content, and political actors will always use that. With regard to their commitment towards towards addressing, let's say, these concerns in countries like India, Brazil, and Pakistan, also countries where elections are going to be held over the next few years, the first thing that we need to look at is a lot of misinformation spread through the medium of WhatsApp in countries like India and Brazil. And WhatsApp is an end-to-end encrypted service. So there isn't really a lot of regulation that we can expect Facebook to effectuate at that level, because they don't have access to the content of the messages which are being forwarded. So in that sense, they cannot exercise control over that. And so far, Facebook hasn't really provided clear action on how this menace could be dealt with at the level of WhatsApp. In terms of where this leaves them with the Indian government and getting a license to enable a payment system on WhatsApp, I think that remains to be seen, because I don't know what Facebook can establish and show as its commitment towards dealing with misinformation to convince the Indian government here. So, I mean, I don't think there are...
All right. All right, Amber. Amber, we're running out of time. Right. Amber, I'm sorry. I'm afraid we have to take a break at this point. But thank you so much for joining us on the show with your perspective on Facebook, WhatsApp, and of course, Cambridge Analytica. But I'm afraid we'll have to take a break at this point. But don't go anywhere, because on the other side of Startup Central, we bring you yet another winner of the ET Startup Awards. This time it's Grofers, which won the comeback kit. We talked to its founder about the pain they went through in 2016 and how they managed to make a comeback. Tune in for this interesting conversation on the other side of the break. Welcome back to ED Now Startup Central. Time to continue with our coverage of the winners of the ED Startup Awards. We got you the Startup of the Year yesterday. That was Oyo's Ritesh Agarwal. And this evening, we have the ET Comeback Kit to online delivery platform Grofers that delivers everything from groceries to FMCG. Now, they went through a very tough phase in 2016 when the hyperlocal space pretty much blew up in the face of many startups. A lot of people shut down. Grofers then pivoted from an aggregator model to an inventory-led model. It helped them not only to survive but thrive. We have with us Saurabh Kumar, the founder of Grofers, joining us this evening on Startup Central. Saurabh, congratulations on being the comeback kid. Now, the citation says that, you've been given this title for your ability to persevere and adapt to changing market dynamics. Did the push to pivot and adapt come from the founders, come from the investors? Take us through that painful phase in 2016 and your subsequent comeback.
Yeah, I think 2016 was the time when we were going through a period when we were flat for a few months, and the push for actually looking for more insights came from the team itself, right? We started digging deeper into trying to understand what was the customer need. So we tried to understand what exactly do customers want from a platform like ours, and we realized that customers wanted more value for their money, and that led us to actually move from a hyperlocal model to an inventory-led model, and that was the big shift in our strategy, and that has given us rewards for last 15 months. We invested heavily in building our supply chain. We invested heavily in getting the right products on our platform. We invested heavily in also trying to understand who our customer was. So as of today, majority of the customers that we acquired today is the first time online grocery shopper. So we invested heavily in just trying to understand what the customer need was and worked on it, and that has helped us with the rewards that we are seeing now.
Just a few days back, Saurabh, Grofers announced this major push into FMCG. You announced a huge target of 2,500 crore by the next fiscal. Now, I read that your revenues as of May was 127 crore, May 2018. So how are you going to achieve this big number? And, what new things are you going to bring to the table, considering you already deliver, in addition to groceries, you're already into household care, wellness, baby care. So this fresh FMCG push, what should we expect?
Yeah, so see, at the core of what we stand for is providing quality at affordable prices, right? And for our ability to continue to build on that, we needed to invest in our own private label. What our private label provides us is our ability to provide much better quality products at much more affordable prices. For all the segments that we are getting into in private label, what we are seeing is that we are able to price our products much more cheaper than what most of our competitor brands are able to, and that gives us an advantage, and that is an advantage that we want in the long run, where we are able to price these products at a much more cheaper level than what our competitors can. And that's the reason why we are investing heavily in our private label brand.
But Saurabh, is there a fear of expanding too fast? This is where I think Grofers went wrong the last time, which is why you had to scale down your focus. You had to bring down your presence in a number of cities. How are you going to ensure that doesn't happen this time around? I mean, how are you going to be watchful even as you step forward on this FMCG push?
See, so whatever we are trying to do in our private label, right? Product development is a long drawn process for us. So any product that we develop that you see on our platform today, the actual work on that has probably started 6 months back. So we, in our product development phase also, we talk to a lot of customers, we do a lot of trials, we try to get customers feedback and work on improving our products. So any product that comes on a platform, it already goes through a lot of iterations. So we are not going to come up with products that we do not believe that it has market and where we are not getting positive customer feedback on.
If I look at the grocery space today, Saurabh, it's changed because there are multiple players with deep pockets. You have now a Flipkart backed by a Walmart. You have Amazon that's betting big on its grocery delivery. I mean, they're talking about Amazon Now, Amazon Pantry, and of course you have Big Basket. Where does that leave a player like Grofers?
See, in last 2-3 years, what has happened is with more penetration of mobile internet, what has happened is that a lot of middle and low income households are coming to buy online, and a lot of these customers, like in the grocery segment itself, organized retail has not been able to penetrate the localities that a lot of these households live in. So for a lot of these households, for them to get value for their money, what they are now doing is moving from their local kirana shops to start buying online, because they do not have access to the organized retail yet. And that's where we see that gap exists, and that's where online grocery retail comes into play. And we are trying to capitalize on this gap in the market and build a business here.
Saurabh, is milk delivery something that you will look at? This is a category that has really taken off in the last 6 months. So many milk delivery startups that we look at. Is it something that you will look at, either organically or in terms of an acquisition?
Not really. We do not think this subscription model around milk and eggs delivery is a scalable business. So this is not a segment that we are looking at.
Okay, you have a contra view there. You're saying it's not scalable, perhaps won't be sustainable. We'll have to see how that plays out. But the other trend, of course, that's taken off in a huge way is omni-channel, this offline, online retail push. How you're going to tap into that?
Our focus is going to continue to remain around the online space. There is a lot of opportunity that exists in building and scaling an online business itself. So we are not looking at offline space as yet. Our ability to make savings accessible to masses, we are able to do that much better in an online space. When we enter any geography, our footprint with an online player is much larger than what we can provide with in offline space. The catchment area that any offline store has is very, very limited. So we are going to continue to focus on being online and being able to reach out to the masses through the online channel.
Before I let you go, what lessons have you learned as a founder and entrepreneur that you think other startups can learn from, particularly because you almost failed and then you completely pivoted and managed to make a comeback? I mean, what is the biggest learning for other startups, other aspiring entrepreneurs here?
I think one of the biggest learnings for us has been that what helped us through this phase is, right, when we started trying to focus back on trying to understand customers better, one thing that we missed in the initial phases was we weren't talking to customers enough. The more we have talked to our customers, the more feedback that we have got, and the more we have built on it, we have seen the growth automatically comes in. So one thing that I would like that has been a learning for us is that we need to talk to customers more and more. The more you talk to customers, the more learnings that you get.
On that note, Saurabh, thank you so much for talking to us and talking about the importance of learning from customers, listening to customers. Lot of lessons there for other startups and entrepreneurs. But on that note, we're completely out of time on this session of ED Now Startup Central. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned to the channel for more news and updates.